In my past life, I married Shen Jiyuan, the man I loved, just as I wished. And because of this, he inherited all of his grandfather's family fortune and title. But after our grand wedding, he had an affair with my younger half-sister, Sunian. When my parents found out, they angrily married Sunian off to a distant land. From then on, Shen Jiyuan hated me venomously and spent his years frequenting brothels. In the end, he transmitted a dirty disease from the brothels to me, leading to one corpse with 2 lives, and I died filled with hatred. Memories of my past life flooded into my mind like a tide that me who foolishly gave my heart away, and died a tragic death on the spot, that ending where deep love was met with betrayal. When I opened my eyes again, I decided to let them be together. But who would have thought? Shen Jiyuan was reborn too. Number Chapter 1. The standoff before the General's Manor. I had just walked out of the study in the General's Manor when I ran into the Shen brothers. Yo, isn't this the Lin family's legitimate daughter, Lin Wanchuang, who is always sticking behind brother Jiyuan? The Shen family's second young master, Shen Jixuan, teased with a raised eyebrow. For my big brother, you really are willing to go all out. Being so forward, aren't you afraid your dead, meritorious grandfather would turn in his grave if he knew? As soon as they saw me, they turned their gazes to Shen Jiayuan, their faces full of mischief. Shen Jiayuan ignored their teasing and just looked at me with a cold expression. What are you doing at the General's mansion? Don't tell me you want grandfather to plead your case again. Let me tell you, this time, even if grandfather comes to persuade me, I won't agree to marry you right away. His eyes were filled with disgust and contempt. Just like in my past life, my love had never moved him. I let out a deep breath and said calmly, "You are overthinking it. I only came this time to discuss my coming-of-age ceremony with the old general. Grandfather is going to hold a coming-of-age ceremony for you?" As soon as the words left his mouth, Shen Jixuan cried out in surprise. He didn't even hold our coming-of-age ceremonies, and he is actually going to hold one for you. TSK, grandfather really does favor you a lot. I ignored the envious gazes they cast my way. If I could choose, I'd rather not have the old general's favor, because all of this was exchanged for my grandfather's life. After the gasps of surprise, everyone congratulated Shen Jiyuan, with faint, ambiguous smiles. Eldest brother is so lucky, marrying the legitimate daughter of the Lin family. Your official career will surely be a smooth ride to the top in the future. Yeah, eldest brother, when the time comes, you'll have to help us out. Amidst the wave of compliments, Shen Jiyuan couldn't help but reveal a hint of smugness, and even his gaze towards me became much more pleasant. Lin Wanchuang, congratulations. You finally get your wish to marry me, so I'll give you some face. I will agree to grandfather's request and take you as my wife. But we have to set 3 rules first after we're married. You must be a virtuous and gentle wife at home, and you are not allowed to interfere with me taking concubines. These words shocked me so much my expression froze. I never thought there would be such a shameless man in this world. We're not even officially married, and he is already thinking about taking a concubine. But in my past life, he didn't seem to mention any of this. Could it be? He was reborn too. Before I could even come back to my senses, a saccharine and artificial female voice sounded. Me, concubine-born younger sister. Sunian, with a flirtatious look on her face, gracefully walked over, coughing a couple of times every now and then. The moment he saw her, Shen Jiyuan immediately went up to her. "Nian, why are you here?" She showed a weak smile. "Father and mother were worried that older sister has been out for too long, so they sent me to check on you." Shen Jiyuan tightly gripped her hand and glared at me. "Why are you so delicate, needing someone to accompany you, just to go out? Can't you see Nian is unwell?" "Brother Jiyuan, don't say that. I am just born of a concubine. Of course I can't compare to older sister. It is only right that father and mother worry about her more." Her voice was soft, her glistening eyes welling up with tears, instantly stirring up Shen Jiyuan's protective instincts. "What, born of a concubine or not? I won't let you say that. In my heart, you are the best." His gaze towards me became even more hostile. "Lin Wanchuang, if you bully Nian like this again, I will definitely not marry you." I laughed. It seems no matter how many lives this man lives, he is just as arrogant and narcissistic. Number Chapter 2. The disturbance at the hair-pinning ceremony. On the day of the hair-pinning ceremony, I dressed especially plainly, with only an orchid embroidered on the hem of my skirt. In contrast, Sunyan was so gorgeously dressed, it was like she was wearing all the colors at once. Those who didn't know any better would have thought today was her coming-of-age ceremony. Sister, today is your special day. It is a pity this little sister can't drink alcohol. May I substitute tea for wine? She raised the teacup before her, toasting me with a beaming smile, but the next second, the teacup in her hand suddenly tilted towards me. Instantly, a tea stain spread across my pristine white dress. Ah, I am sorry, sister. I didn't do it on purpose. She instantly put on a pitiful expression, but if you looked closely, the corners of her eyes were filled with smugness. I looked at her coldly, my gaze catching the figure of Shen Jiyuan. What does it matter if her clothes are wet or not? They're just as bland and ugly either way. He walked over, deliberately getting extremely close to Sunyan, but his gaze was tightly locked onto my expression. Lin Wanchuang, as the legitimate daughter of the Lin family, is this how you make things difficult for your sister? All your lessons for women have gone to the dogs. It was clearly Sunyan's fault, but his words through and through were all about protecting and favoring her. If this were the past, perhaps I would have already been sad enough to make a big scene. One is the man I love, the other is my sister. Why do you have to humiliate me like this in front of everyone? But now I don't feel a shred of emotion, only taking the handkerchief from the maid to dab at the tea on my dress. After waiting a long time without a response from me, Shen Jiyuan narrowed his eyes and looked me up and down. After looking for a long while, he showed a satisfied expression. I never thought a shrewish and willful woman like you could actually manage to pretend to be virtuous one day. I guess you've made some progress. Since that is the case, I'll reluctantly give you the token of our love first. As soon as these words were spoken, a trace of jealousy flashed in Sunyan's eyes. Isn't this the jeweled hairpin from the treasure pavilion, Brother Zhuan? You are so good to my sister. Hearing this, Shen Jiyuan immediately pulled his hand back. Nian Nian likes it, then I'll give it to you. Sunyan exclaimed in surprise. How could I? This is the token of love you are giving to my sister. What is the big deal? I'll just casually give her some other trinket. Anyway, as long as it is from me, even if it is a piece of scrap cloth, she'll treasure it dearly. Such humiliating words immediately caused the entire crowd to break into snickers. My fingertips dug into my flesh, and memories I had finally managed to forget flooded back into my mind. In my past life, I collected everything related to Shen Jiyuan, one by one, especially a silk handkerchief he once dropped, which I cherished and kept with me every day. Once, he accidentally saw it. He was extremely disgusted and contemptuous, and spat at me. Then, he even exaggerated and spread the story everywhere, causing me to completely lose face. The dense memories pierced my heart like needles. I took a deep breath and looked coldly at the man in front of me. Shen Jiyuan, who the hell said I was going to marry you? As soon as these words were spoken, the entire place immediately fell into a dead silence. After a moment, Shen Jiyuan suddenly scoffed. I just gave you one compliment, and you are already showing your true colors. Lin Wanchuang, if you don't marry me, who do you want to marry? In the entire Shen family, I am the only one left who is unmarried. Don't tell me you want to be my second brother's concubine, or are you saying you want to marry Shen Muyan? I remained silent, which counted as a silent admission. Shen Juyan burst out laughing. Lin Wanchuang, just to piss me off. Are you really going to marry my sickly third brother? Don't you forget. He is the only cripple in our Shen family who can't even stand up if you marry him. You'll be a live and widow for the rest of your life. Number Chapter 3. A choice of the heart. His undisguised contempt caused the entire crowd to start whispering, especially when Shen Muyan emerged from the crowd in a wheelchair. The gazes of the crowd enveloped the few of us. Those malicious stares made my whole body turn cold. Shen Jiyuan noticed Shen Muyan, and a malicious smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Well, speak of the devil. Lin Wanchuang, you'd better take a good look. Is this the husband you want? He walked to Shen Muyan's side and leaned heavily against his wheelchair. The force was so great that if Shen Muyan hadn't struggled to keep it steady, the entire wheelchair would have almost tipped over. His body was already weak, and with this, the color on his face instantly drained away completely. Shen Jiyuan, stop. I frowned and shouted, stopping his almost bullying-like actions. What? feeling sorry for him. I just want to show you what kind of a good-for-nothing he is, he sneered, and seeing the indignant look on my face, he changed the subject. Actually, I also know you were just saying that out of anger just now. How about this? As long as you say who the husband you've truly chosen is right now, I'll give you some face. How about it? The certainty all over his face made my brows twitch, but just as I was about to say Shen Muyan's name directly, I suddenly remembered General Shen's words. Since you have chosen the third son, I will respect your wish, but just don't tell them yet. Wait until everything has settled down. I had only hinted at Shen Muyan's name, and Shen Jiyuan already dared to bully him like this. If I really let him know that the one I am marrying in this life is Shen Muyan, I am afraid there is no telling what he would do. I hesitated for a moment, and ultimately swallowed my words. At this moment, Shen Muyan had also steadied himself. He silently glanced at me, a hint of disappointment hidden in the depths of his eyes. When the time comes, you'll know naturally. I coldly tossed out the sentence and turned to leave the center of the controversy. Just as I avoided the crowd and got to the back garden, I ran right into Sunyan, who had chased after me. When no one else is around, she is always too lazy to put on an act. Big sis, you really stole the show today. Too bad. No matter what tricks you pull to get Brother Jiyuan's attention, you'll never win his heart. The hair at her temples swayed back and forth, revealing a new jeweled hairpin at the end of her braid. Even the smallest gem on this is priceless, but it is still a bit lacking compared to the things Brother Jiyuan has given me before. His gifts, I bet you've never received any, have you, big sis? It wasn't just this life where I hadn't gotten one, was it? Even in my previous life when I deeply loved Shen Jiyuan, I had never once received a gift from him. Ever since marrying Shen Jiyuan, he obtained all of his grandfather's connections and resources from before he died, and was even unconventionally granted a noble title. But he, who was unrivaled in the limelight, almost never cherished me, the one who gave him all of this. In my previous life, when I caught him and Sunyan in bed, he held her tightly in his arms while hurling insults at me. After Mom and Dad married my younger sister off to a distant land, he even poured all his hatred onto me. Not only did he philander and ignore worldly affairs, he didn't even come to see me once when I was seriously ill in bed. Hiding all my emotions deep in my eyes, I gave a faint smile. That is right, since he likes you so much, you'd better grow up quickly so you can marry him. Sunyan's expression faltered, and after a long while she raised an eyebrow and replied, Of course, Brother Jiyuan will definitely be waiting for me, so you can just forget about it. I couldn't be bothered to waste my breath on her and was about to leave, but she seemed to have seen something and suddenly pushed me down. While I was dazed, she snatched the hairpin from her head and shoved it into my hand. Sister, even if you are jealous that Brother Jiyuan gave me the hairpin, you can't just snatch it away. Number Chapter 4, Truth and Choice, hearing her aggrieved cries. Before I could even react, I saw a tall male figure approaching from a distance. He carefully helped Sunyan up, and after checking her over carefully, he turned and glared at me angrily. Lin Wanshuang, you actually pushed Nianian to the ground over a hairpin. How did I not see that you were so vicious? I looked at the hairpin she had forcefully shoved into my hand, and could only find it laughable. I threw the hairpin at Sunyan's feet. Sunyan, at such a young age, you already know how to use these despicable back courtyard tricks for winning favor. Is this what your mother taught you? Sunyan's eyes immediately filled with aggrieved tears. Sister, how could you slander me like this? It was clearly you who coveted the gift Brother Jiyuan gave me, tried to snatch it, and pushed me to the ground. Shen Jiyuan's heart ached for her terribly. He glared at me and roared. As the mainline daughter of the Lin family, how dare you act so bossy and rude? Hurry up and apologize to Nian. Otherwise, I will absolutely not marry you. Hearing Shen Jiyuan once again use marrying me as a threat to back up Sunyan, my heart no longer had the aching bitterness of my past life, and instead I found it funny. I am really curious what his expression will be when he finds out the person I am going to marry is Shen Muyan. The people around were attracted by the noise here, compared to the crying and sniffling Sunyan. I, the calm and composed one, immediately became the one everyone was pointing fingers at. Look, isn't that the legitimate daughter of the Lin mansion? She is actually bullying her own sister. How arrogant and domineering. Yeah, I heard today is her hairpin ceremony, and her husband-to-be is going to be announced publicly. I wonder who is so unlucky to have to marry her. The crowd's chatter reached Shen Jiyuan's ears, making his expression even darker. He patted Sun Yan's back, then walked closer to my side and said in a very low voice in my ear, "Lin Wanshuang, I've already given you a way out, so take it. Hurry up and apologize to Nianian. Also, remember our previous agreement. After our wedding, you are not allowed to interfere with me taking concubines. Otherwise, even if grandfather announces our marriage, I still won't agree to it." His eyes were full of menace, as if he already had me in the palm of his hand. I sneered, raising an eyebrow sarcastically. "An apology is impossible, but as for taking concubines, you can take as many as you want. Anyway, what is it to me?" I sneered as I met his stunned gaze, then turned straight around and left. In this life, I am not even going to marry him, so why would I care if he takes concubines or not? It'd be best to let him marry Sun Yan, and then take a few dozen concubines, to disgust her to death. Walking out of the crowd, I came face to face with Shen Mian, his eyes full of worry. Today he was wearing a cyan-long robe, his face flushed and his breathing slightly labored. "I heard them say that Big Brother was giving you a hard time just now. Are you okay?" His worried face inexplicably overlapped with the him from my past life. In my last life, on that rainy night when I was driven to despair, this was the very face I saw. "Wanshuang, are you okay?" It was also then that I realized he had been silently watching over me for a lifetime. It was he who accompanied me through that final year plagued by illness. My eyes grew warm, and I gave a sincere smile. "I am fine." Number Chapter 5. The dust settles hemph. "What does it have to do with you whether she is fine or not? She is your future sister-in-law." Shen Jiyuan's ill-timed voice rang out, and his gaze toward Shen Muan inexplicably held a few traces of vigilance. When his eyes noticed the wheelchair beneath him, this vigilance instantly turned into contempt. After everyone walked into the hall, General Shen also came out. He lovingly called me to his side and took my hand. "Today is Wanshuang's coming-of-age ceremony, which I am sure you all have heard about. According to the agreement between myself and her grandfather, I will choose one of the descendants of our Shen family to be her husband, and I will pass the Shen family's title of nobility on to him." As soon as these words were spoken, the entire hall immediately broke into discussion. After all, the Marquis title of the Shen mansion was a coveted prize in everyone's eyes. Amidst the envious gazes of the crowd, Shen Jiyuan proudly tilted his head up. At this moment, it was as if he had already become my future husband and inherited the Shen family's title. "Now, please have the two children come to the center." Shen Jiyuan smiled unrestrainedly and was about to step forward, but General Shen shot him a fierce glare. He stopped in his tracks. Shen Mian, however, had a smile on his face and slowly walked over. The smile on Shen Jiyuan's face instantly vanished when he saw this, his expression one of shock and uncertainty. "Your legs. How?" But Shen Mian ignored him, his gaze towards me gentle and firm, as if I were the only person in the world. "Wanshuang, thank you for choosing me." "What, how could it be him?" "Yeah, wasn't this Lin Wanshuang always making a fuss about marrying the eldest young master? How did it become Shen Muyan?" Shen Jiyuan's face instantly turned a shade paler. "Grandfather, did you make a mistake? Shouldn't the person Wanshuang is supposed to marry be me? How could it be this cripple?" "Shut up! How dare you insult your own brother like this?" General Shen glared at him, his aura terrifying. "I have fought for His Majesty for 40 years without ever making a mistake. How could I possibly get such a small matter wrong? The girl, Wanshuang, is to marry the third son, Shen Muyan. She chose him herself." Shen Jiyuan's eyes widened instantly. "She is going to marry Shen Muyan. How is this possible?" He immediately turned around and gripped my wrist tightly. "Wanshuang, you can't possibly have chosen him. There must have been some mistake. You definitely chose me, right?" I sneered and shook off his hand, saying word by word, "Shen Jiyuan, you are really far too confident in yourself. The husband I have chosen is Shen Mu Yan. This is impossible. You were obviously supposed to choose me." He looked at me angrily. "You must be lying to me, right? You are jealous of me and Nian, so you are deliberately lying to me, right?" Seeing him getting crazier and crazier, General Shen's expression grew more impatient. "Men, throw this disgraceful thing out," he roared in a deep voice, and in no time, a few house servants were dragging Shen Jiyuan out, one on each side as he was going out the door. He still yelled at me, unwilling to give up. "Lin Wanshuang, hurry up and say it. The one you chose should be me. It is me." I watched him being dragged away with a blank expression, and turned my head to look at Shen Muyin. Originally, after Shen Jiyuan caused such a scene, his expression had also darkened, but when he saw me looking at him, he immediately raised a gentle smile. "This brat, he really lacks discipline." General Shen cursed at Shen Jiyuan's departing back. Then with a somber face, he dismissed the crowd, leaving only me and Shen Muyan. "Muyan, I've pretty much watched Wanshuang grow up since she was little. From now on, you must treat her well." He gave a few words of advice, then turned and placed a stack of banknotes and land deeds into my hands. "I wish you both a harmonious marriage, a life of mutual respect." Number Chapter 6. A new beginning, of course. Thank you, General Shen. I smiled and agreed, my gaze meeting Shen Muyan's somewhat shy eyes. In my past life, when I was at a dead end, it was he who went everywhere to find a doctor to treat me. He didn't even mind my ruined body, and personally applied medicine for me. During that time, he gave me the last bit of warmth and hope. After I died, he searched everywhere for evidence of Shen Jiyuan's crimes against me. In the end, by his own power, he brought a case against Shen Jiyuan, who was already the Marquis of Donglan, before the imperial court. At that time, my soul had already left my body, but for some reason, I witnessed it all. I couldn't understand. We clearly had no interactions in my previous life, so why was he willing to go to such lengths for me? But the one thing I knew was, marrying him, I would not regret it. Firm in my thoughts, I quietly took Shen Muyan's hand. After the choice of husband was confirmed, General Shen also held a banquet for me. At the banquet, he specifically had Shen Muyan sit on his left-hand side. Since ancient times, the left is the position of honor, so his meaning was very obvious. He wanted to pass the Marquis title of the next generation to him. Everyone cast sidelong glances, their gazes toward Shen Muyan filled with both envy and doubt. After all, everyone knew that Shen Muyan's legs were injured. The last time the engagement was announced, he had only managed to stand for a moment with someone's support. If he really were to inherit the title, whether there would be a next generation was still a question. Meanwhile, Shen Jiyuan was only allowed to sit in a corner of the banquet, silently drinking his sorrows away, his gaze shifting between me and Shen Muyan from time to time. After people heard that he wasn't chosen and had offended General Shen, no one even dared to talk to him, a complete world of difference from before. "Muyan, your legs." "Sigh. Tomorrow, I'll ask His Majesty to send over some more imperial physicians to have a look at you." General Shen looked at Shen Muyan. His eyes filled with heartache. He had spent his life on the battlefield, and thinking back now, he had wronged his grandchildren, especially the frail Shen Muyan. "Thank you for your concern, grandfather. Actually, the way he is, it is useless, no matter how many imperial physicians you call." Before he could finish speaking, he was cut off by Shen Jiyuan, who reeked of alcohol. Glancing at Shen Muyan with disgust, he knelt straight down. "Grandfather, please reconsider Wanshuang's marriage. Third brother is disabled. He is really not a good match." General Shen snorted coldly. "Then according to you, who is a good match for her?" Shen Jiyuan, thinking he had persuaded him, hurriedly said, "Of course, it is me. Wanshuang and I have been in love since we were children, grandfather. You can't break us up. You are in love with each other, Wanshuang, is what he is saying true?" General Shen looked at me. I deliberately avoided Shen Ziyuan's gaze. "General Shen, I don't understand why eldest young Master Shen would say such a thing. I've always only seen him as an older brother, and have no romantic feelings for him. Besides, the one he is interested in is clearly my younger sister, Sunian." "Wanshuang, you?" Shen Jiyuan's eyes widened in disbelief, but after a moment he seemed to have figured something out. "I get it now, Wanshuang. You must be jealous, right? You are jealous that I gave Nian Nian that hairpin, so you've been angry and getting revenge on me. You saying you want to marry Shen Muyan, that is not for real either. It is just to make me angry, right? How can this man be so shameless?" I looked away from him in disgust. "Please have some self-respect. I am now your third younger brother's fiancé." "So what?" Shen Jiyuan's face twisted. I can't possibly let you marry him. You can only be my wife. You were in the last life, and you will be in this one too." Seeing his crazed look, I instinctively dodged back, but he immediately drew closer as well. Just as he was about to touch me, he was suddenly knocked unconscious from behind. I looked up, and the man standing steadily before my eyes was actually Shen Muyan. Number Chapter 7. The truth is revealed. You are not. I looked at the tall, elegant man before me and covered my mouth in surprise. Didn't he fall off a horse, break his leg, and was never able to stand up on his own again? How could this be? Apparently, I wasn't the only one shocked. Everyone, by tacit agreement, ignored Shen Jiyuan lying on the ground, and all stared wide-eyed at Shen Muyan. "Muyan Yu, grandfather, 3 months ago I invited a renowned healer to perform acupuncture. At that time he said the chances of me standing up on my own were indeed quite slim. But this time, somehow, when I saw Big Brother about to harm Wan Shuang, I panicked. And the surprise on his face didn't look fake, and General Shen also started laughing out loud. So that is how it is. Then it seems Wan Shuang is still your lucky star. This engagement was really the right call. Good. You are weak, so don't stand for too long. Have Wan Shuang help you leave the table and rest first." On the way as I helped Shen Muyan walk to the room, his face was flushed red. Miss Ava, let me do it myself." Looking at his shy appearance, I found it quite amusing and deliberately teased him. "We're already engaged, and you are still calling me Miss Ava. Could it be that you are not satisfied with me?" No. How could that be? It is my fortune of 3 lifetimes to be able to marry you. I don't know if it was for health reasons, but unlike the rest of the Marshal Shen family, Shen Muyan had a bit of a scholarly air about him. He was anxious to deny it, but immediately looked away when he met my teasing gaze. "It is just that, I don't know if I am really the husband you had in mind." "What?" His sudden remark left me a little confused. "I heard what Big Brother said just now too. If you really chose me just to spite him." The smile on my face gradually faded. "No, I wasn't acting out of spite." "But you really did adore Big Brother before," he said after mustering up his courage, then lowered his head in frustration. "I am sorry, Miss Ava. I don't mean to question you. I just wanted to say, if you regret this, Miss Ava, I can go ask grandfather to call off this engagement. I won't regret it." Memories from my past life flashed through my mind again. Back then, I really did love Shen Jiyuan to the bone. It is just that me is already dead. Shen Muyan looked up, as if wondering why I was so certain. "I did adore him in the past, but I don't like him anymore. Besides, he doesn't like me either. It is too tiring to love someone who doesn't love you back. Right now, I just want to love someone who loves me." I smiled as I looked at Shen Muyan, my meaning perfectly clear. His face instantly turned red. "Then you are really willing to marry me?" Seeing me nod, his eyes lit up in an instant. "Then Miss Ava, wait for me a moment. Call me Wan Shuang, now." Even the tips of his ears were completely red. He mumbled Wan Shuang, turned around and plunged into the bedroom to look for something. Then, with a solemn expression, he placed a jade hairpin into my hand. "This is an heirloom my mother left for me. She said it should be given to the woman I love most. Wan Shuang, I will definitely be good to you." Listening to his affectionate and gentle words, I raised my hand and caressed the smooth, warm hairpin in it. Okay. Number Chapter 8. The dust settles after the coming-of-age ceremony ended. Rumors that Shen Jiyuan and General Shen had a falling out spread throughout the entire Luoyang city. But none of this had anything to do with me anymore. At this moment, I was at home, peacefully preparing for my grand wedding with Shen Muyan. But someone just had to choose a day like this to stir up trouble. "Older sister, I can't believe you actually chose to marry that good-for-nothing." Sunyan taunted me brazenly. "Aren't you afraid of becoming a widow in a living marriage? But this is good too. Once I marry Brother Jiyuan and give birth to a son. Let's see if father and mother will still favor you then." She burst out laughing. Ha, that smug look on her face, as if she had already trampled me under her feet. I couldn't be bothered with her, and was about to tell her to get out, when I suddenly heard a maid's voice. "Miss, the eldest young master of the Shen family is here to visit, and he says he wants to see you. Brother Jiyuan is here to see me." Before I could even speak, Sunyan got all excited, fiddled with her hair a bit, and ran out in a flustered hurry. I followed behind her with a blank expression, intending to see what kind of shenanigans Shen Jiyuan was planning to stir up this time. The moment Sun Yan saw Shen Jiyuan, she immediately put on a delicate and soft expression. "Long time no see, Ji," as she spoke. She leaned toward Shen Jiyuan's body, but before she even touched his shoulder, she was pushed to the ground by him. "Get lost. I am not here for you today." Shen Jiyuan's voice was extremely cold, but the next second after seeing me, his coldness immediately melted away. "Wan Shuang, you are finally out. Today I came specially to propose marriage to you." Without permission from me and my parents, the steward didn't let Shen Jiyuan in. So right now, in front of the Lin mansion, there was really a big crowd of onlookers gathered. As soon as Shen Jiyuan said that, a series of gasps immediately broke out from the crowd. This isn't the Lin mansion's legitimate daughter already engaged to the Shen mansion's third young master. Why is this eldest young master still coming to propose marriage? Yeah, at first I thought he came for the Lin mansion's concubine-born daughter. Hasn't it always been rumored that she is the one he fancies? I frowned as I listened to the discussions of the people around me, feeling nothing but disgust in my heart. In his last life, wasn't Shen Jiyuan hopelessly in love with Sun Yan? Shouldn't my choice not to marry him be exactly what he wanted? Why is he now pestering me endlessly instead? Young Master Shen, you must be mistaken. I am already engaged. Besides, isn't she the one you admire? If you are going to propose, you should be proposing to her, right? I raised my hand and pointed at Sun Yan, who was on the ground with a look of disbelief, but Shen Jiyuan didn't even look at her. "No, Wan Shuang. The one I love is you. I want to be a couple with you, and only you for a lifetime." "Oh, but back then, didn't you say you wanted to make an agreement with me, that I shouldn't interfere with you taking concubines as you please?" Number. Chapter 9. Dog Bites. Dog Shen Jiyuan's expression faltered, a hint of embarrassment appearing on his face. I was just kidding. Don't take it seriously. The look he gave me was so sincere, if not for my rebirth. I am afraid I would have really fallen into his gentle trap. "Brother Jiyuan, you? You clearly said you wanted to be with me." Sun Yan suddenly cried out. "You said I was more beautiful and virtuous than my older sister. You said you didn't like my older sister at all, that you only liked me, and even promised to marry me as your succeeding wife after my older sister died. That is why I with you." "Shut up." Shen Jiyuan used all his strength and fiercely slapped Sun Yan. "You are just the cheap concubine-born daughter of the Lin residents. How could I possibly be interested in you? How dare you even try to sow discord between Wan Shuang and me? You lying number. Seeing that Shen Jiyuan intended to deny it, the shame and indignation on Sun Yan's face instantly turned into shock and hatred. She took off the hairpin from her head and held it up in front of her. "I am not lying. It was you, Shen Jiyuan. You are the one who tricked me, saying you would marry me. So I gave my body to you. This is the proof." Seemingly feeling that she already had no way out, Sun Yan's face was full of resolve. "This hairpin has your, Shen Jiyuan's exclusive mark on it. It is more than enough to prove our relationship." Everyone looked towards that precious hairpin, and after seeing the engraving of Shen Jiyuan on it, they all immediately gave him a contemptuous look. "Etsk, this young Master Shen is really such a player. Huh? After sleeping with the daughter of a noble family, he thinks giving her a hairpin settles the score." "That is right. Although she is just a concubine's daughter. She is from the Lin Manor after all. This is just too dishonorable." Seeing that he'd become the target of everyone's attacks, Shen Jiyuan's eyes turned red with rage, and he rushed up and kicked Sun Yan. "You number. If you hadn't seduced me, why would I have gotten entangled with you?" The hairpin in her hand fell out, shattering into pieces. With that, Sun Yan also completely lost her mind and rushed forward, tearing at Shen Jiyuan's clothes. Watching this dog-eat-dog scene, my brows furrowed, and I turned to leave, but Shen Jiyuan quickly stepped in front of me. "Wan Shuang, believe me, my entanglement with Sun Yan before was just because she bewitched me. As long as you marry me, I will absolutely never make a similar mistake again." He reached out and grabbed my wrist, his face full of earnest pleading. The me from my past life, if I had heard these words, would probably have been ecstatic. It is just a pity that everything is already too late. I forcefully pulled free, my expression calm. "First, young Master Shen, please have some self-respect. I am about to be your third brother's wife. Whatever goes on between you and her has absolutely nothing to do with me. I turned and went inside, crisply ordering someone to shut the main gate. I heard from a maid later that Shen Jiyuan stayed outside the gate for a long time, clamoring to get in. But with my orders, the household guards ultimately stopped him. In the end, as the crowd gathering at the gate grew larger and larger, Shen Jiyuan, finally realizing he had lost face, turned and left. An unwilling Sunyan also followed him, but was stopped outside the gate of the Shen residence. She yelled and screamed at the gate, demanding Shen Jiyuan give her an explanation. But he never came out, and in the end, it was General Shen who sent people to bring her back. Hearing about all this chaos, I couldn't help but feel a bit emotional in my heart. I never thought they'd end up like this. Number Chapter 10. A perfect conclusion when the day of the grand wedding actually arrived. Everything went exceptionally smoothly. Shen Muyan had intensified his practice these past few days, so when he came to pick up the bride, his standing and walking were already no different from a normal person's dressed in a wedding suit. His fair skin made him look exceptionally handsome. I cautiously peeked at him through the red veil, but he discovered me, and smiling, squeezed my palm. "Wanshuang, don't be anxious." Listening to his gentle, jade-like voice, a wave of sweetness flowed through my heart. Holding the man's hand and walking through the long corridors of the Shen mansion. It was clearly the same route as in my past life. But this time, my heart was inexplicably calm. Perhaps it is because this time I married someone who truly loves me. After turning a corner, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of the bridal chamber. "Wanshuang, come with me. Let's go beg grandfather to let you marry me. You were supposed to be my wife." Hearing the man's almost crazed voice, I immediately ripped the red veil from my head. Unsurprisingly, the man blocking the door was none other than Shen Jiyuan. His sinister gaze was fixed on my face, and he suddenly broke into a strange smile. "Wanshuang, this bridal look of yours is as beautiful as in your past life. As I thought, you should be marrying me." I was so nervous my palms were sweating, and considering Shen Muyan had difficulty moving, I gave him a look telling him to escape first, but he stood firmly in front of me. "Don't worry, Wanshuang, I will protect you." "Protect? Ha ha ha! You good for nothing. Who can you protect? I'll kill you. Wanshuang is mine. Mine." Shen Jiyuan seemed to be completely enraged and suddenly pulled out a knife and lunged at Shen Muyan. Worried, I quickly pushed him away, but I was a step too slow after all. The snow-white blade stabbed into his shoulder and bright red blood instantly stained his clothes. "You good for nothing. You are quick to dodge." Shen Jiyuan wanted to stab again, but was tackled to the ground by the people from the Shen manor who had rushed over. Seeing there was no hope of turning things around, his expression changed in an instant, and he begged me with a mournful look. "Wanshuang, you are supposed to love me. Why? Why are you marrying him instead? Please. I really know I was wrong. Please change your mind, marry me." I couldn't be bothered with him. All I could think about and see was the injured Shen Muyan. "Doctor, quickly get a doctor." Shen Muyan squeezed my hand, enduring the pain and comforting me softly. "I am fine, Wanshuang. Don't worry." But it was precisely this gentleness that made my eyes well up completely. "Shen Muyan, you focus on getting better, and once you've recovered, I'll marry you again." Hearing my promise to Shen Muyan, Shen Jiyuan, who was pinned to the ground, got agitated and wanted to say something else, but his mouth was immediately covered. He could only glare and let out indignant woo-woo sounds. General Shen, who had rushed over, kicked him, his eyes full of disgust. "Hurry up and drag him away." Number epilogue. Ever since crashing the wedding last time, although Shen Jiyuan was still a son of the Shen family in name, he had already thoroughly incurred General Shen's disgust, and aside from his life of luxury remaining unchanged, he was no longer valued. As for Sunyan, because she had lost her virginity and Shen Jiyuan refused to take responsibility, she could only be sent to a remote temple to live out the rest of her broken life. Only after Shen Muyan left his wheelchair was he able to gradually come into his own, and General Shen was overjoyed to see it. Sensing that his days were numbered, he left everything he had accumulated over the years to Shen Muyan without reservation. Coupled with some of the connections left by my grandfather, Shen Muyan, upon entering the imperial court, immediately became a highly sought-after new favorite, and I, as his virtuous wife, took care of everything in the household for him. To be honest, even though they call it taking care of the household, since Shen Muyan was chaste and self-disciplined and always only had me, it was exceptionally easy. But today, I ran into a bit of trouble, disheveled and scruffy. Shen Juyan was blocking the back door, clamoring to see me. "Wanshuang, did you know? Actually, you were originally supposed to marry me, just like in the last life. I'd be at the imperial court, and you'd be in the rear courtyard. We would have lived in perfect harmony, a model couple." I scoffed. "Oh, but how is that different from what I experienced? Perfect harmony. It was clearly you who fooled around in brothels and caught a venereal disease, and then you gave it to me, causing me to die young." "You," his eyes widened in an instant. "How do you know? Could it be that you were reborn too? No wonder. No wonder you chose Shen Muyan as your husband." I couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on him, and signaled for the house servants to shut him out. A month later, I heard the news that Shen Jiyuan had drunk himself to death in a brothel. However, none of this had anything to do with me anymore. Shen Mian and I spent our lives together, raising 3 sons and 2 daughters, all of whom were intelligent and filial. He rose to the rank of a first-rank official, while I was bestowed the title of first-rank Grand Madam. We respected each other like honored guests and grew old together, becoming a celebrated story in the capital city. The nightmare of my past life had finally turned into a beautiful dream in this one. End of full text.